Welcome back, Elyson. In these podcasts, we talk to local Elyson residents. They live right here in Elyson, and they own a business. We get to hear their story, how they started, where they're at today, and we're all about supporting, of course, our local businesses versus the many, many other options we have in the greater Houston and other areas. So if you're wanting to see other stories much like this, we have them on our YouTube page. Feel free to scroll around and look for them. Or if you remember something that you saw in a previous episode and you want to go back and refer that to another friend of yours, feel free to go there and send the link to your friend and support local. In these stories, we get to meet a lot of different people. Today, we get to meet Michael Moore. He is the owner of More Than Physical, and we'll get to hear your story. So Michael, tell us, who is Michael Moore?
Yes.
Where are you from, and how in the world did you end up here in Elyson?
Yeah. So again, my name is Michael. I am from Chicago, proudly born and raised in Chicago.
The Windy City.
Windy City, yes. We, as in me and my wife, moved here during the end of COVID.
Okay.
At least I say the end for Texas.
Yeah.
But we moved here to essentially start a family and seek better opportunity, and so that's why we're here. We moved to the Elyson neighborhood about a month ago, and we love it so far. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Elyson.
Yes.
We're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
In fact, it's kind of funny. I was doing one of these interviews previously, and Michael had his stretcher set up and all that kind of stuff. I think he was finishing up a stretch with somebody, and I was like, "Hey, man, let's get you on the page here," and that's how we got connected. So it's awesome to have that connection and have this conversation today.
Appreciate it. Actually, I was looking at the footage, and I was in the background of somebody's interview, and that was now it feels good to be on this side.
There you go.
Of the couch. Yeah.
No, that's good. I appreciate it. Yep. So you're from Chicago. Tell me then, did you graduate from high school there, and then what? Where did you end up doing?
So I graduated from high school. Like every other young child, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be in this world, and I had various jobs, and what I thought I wanted was to sit behind a desk and be in corporate America. And after several years of doing that, I realized that is not for me. So
where were you working at the time?
So I was working for the city of Chicago in parking enforcement. So
I see.
No one was happy to see
Nobody
me.
liked you, I bet.
No. I was the bearer of bad news to everyone. So that wore on me mentally and physically, and that kind of brings me to why I went into the personal training / stretch therapy space. I was my first client, sitting behind a desk for 10 hours a day, wears on your body. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. It does not have to happen. Unfortunately, we have to make a living for ourselves, so that's what we choose. But I decided that wasn't the life I wanted to live. So it brought me to my passion, which is personal training and just helping others feel good. So,
good.
That's kind of how I got there. Yeah.
Were you involved in sports and stuff in high school too?
I was.
Or what did that look like?
I played football in high school.
Okay.
So I was used to being in shape.
Great.
Now that I moved to Texas, I see how serious football is down here. I don't know if I actually played football in high school, but
Sure.
But I did. I was on the team, and being in shape was part of my lifestyle. So to go from that to completely the opposite end of the spectrum, it wore on me, more than I thought it would. So it helped me get to where I needed to be.
Interesting. So you mentioned just the challenge of the desk job and physical constraint on you there. Did you seek help in that space then, or how did you get interest in the whole personal training and another space like that?
Well, it's a great question. So I knew what to do. It was not having the time to do it.
I see.
And so I was racking my brain on how do I make a living for myself and also do something that I enjoy. And so what made the most sense for me was personal training. I enjoy being in shape, but I thoroughly enjoy helping others.
Yeah.
And I learned that through working for the city of Chicago and literally not helping anyone. And I was like, this doesn't correlate to who I am as a person.
Your desire for existence is just gone. Empty.
Exactly. And that was unacceptable. So so that's what drew me to personal training, because I wanted to essentially combine something that I enjoy doing with something that I could do and make a living for myself. And personal training made the most sense and it's amazing.
Interesting. Very
Yeah.
good. So were you married then when you made the shift to becoming
No.
a personal trainer, or did you make that shift beforehand? Is that
Yes,
okay?
yes. Funny, quick story.
Sure.
I met my wife in the gym. So had I not made that transition, who knows if that
You wouldn't
if
be
I-
married, yeah,
exactly.
yeah. It'd
If
be a
our
totally
paths
different
would
world.
cross. Exactly.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, no, I was not married at the time. Yeah.
Awesome. So you started your personal training business while you were working your W-2, or how did that look like?
No,
What
no.
was the transition like?
But the transition was I went from working at a W-2 or for the city of Chicago to working at another one, which was a local gym in Chicago.
Okay.
And at that moment, I was very aware that I wanted to step out on my own. So I used that time to absorb the business side.
Sure.
And so that was how I transitioned from my W-2 to my own business. As I started in a gym, So,
yeah. Good. Very good. So you were working then for another, was it a gym or was it a different organization that does?
It was a gym, yeah.
Got
It was a very big gym in Chicago.
As a personal trainer then?
As a personal trainer, correct.
Interesting. Got it. What kind of education or how did that start?
Yeah. So I got certified through NCCPT, which is a personal training organization. There's tons out there. But what I learned is that they will get you in the door, they'll get you the certification, but you have to obsess over your craft. And that's what I did. So we live in a world where information is at our fingertips. So I took time every day, every hour to make myself as good as I possibly could be at my craft. So my formal certification got me in the door, but I've perfected it since then.
Cool.
Yeah.
What were some of those maybe perfections you talk about and develop there?
Yeah, I have a background in being an athlete, but the general population may not. You're going to meet people that can't do things that seem simple, and you have to learn how to regress to get them to a point where they can progress. So
I see.
That is a skill. Being young and naive. You think everybody can do everything that you can do.
Sure.
And that's not the case. And that's that it doesn't matter how good you are personally. It's about helping your clients.
Yeah.
So
everybody has a different body, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So you started that process then there in Chicago. What happened there? Did you go out on your own in Chicago, or were you still working for someone while you were down there? Or?
Yeah, no. I slowly progressed to moving out on my own. I was able to build some clientele outside of the gym that I worked at.
Okay.
And then eventually I went, 100% into my own business.
Great.
And then
Now you skimmed over that super fast.
Okay,
right?
okay.
I'm sure you had to sit down and think about how am I going to make that transition or something like that. What did that look like?
Yeah, well, I mean,
how did you get to rationalizing should I go, should I stay?
Yeah,
what does that look like?
Very good question. Pros and cons. I'm a fairly decisive person, so what was the gym offering me that I couldn't have on my own?
Okay. Yeah.
What would I be sacrificing if I left there as opposed to dealing with my own clients? My clients are my clients, whether my umbrella is a big box gym or my own business. And so the very short pros and cons list was I was willing to give up the toys that the gym had, which is all the equipment and all the fun stuff that I call toys. That's my playground. So give that up for a much simpler lifestyle. At the end of the day, I could address the needs of my clients without all the fancy toys and equipment. And so that for me was the reason why I was like, well, why stay if I can satisfy the needs without all the other stuff? So
I see.
So yeah, that was it wasn't, the list wasn't that long. It was fairly easy decision.
Good.
Yeah.
And I guess, were you paid by job before already, or did you have some sort of stability in hourly pay or salary pay? Or
Yeah, no salary pay. So that's another factor. Essentially you don't work, you don't eat. So working for a gym, you have the same risk that you have as an entrepreneur.
Got it.
There is no stability.
There wasn't much of a decision.
Exactly. That's why I said the list was very short. It's like I still don't have the stability with this gym, and essentially I'm sharing my funds with them to work underneath their umbrella.
So it's probably more of a jump from the city of Chicago to jump to the gym than the gym to your personal business. Okay.
Absolutely. And that's why I said initially my goal was to learn the business side, because I knew that first jump was hard, and if I could survive without the stability, of course I could do it on my own.
Yeah.
And that was the transition.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. That's awesome. So you're not in Chicago anymore. Mm-hmm. What happened? What made you move?
Yeah, that beautiful pandemic we had of COVID was a big factor why me and my wife left Chicago.
Okay.
You know, being a personal trainer, you are not essential. I don't know if you remember that term, essential workers.
Yes, essential workers. So a lot of us were told, hey, we don't need you.
Exactly, and we were the first ones. So that,
Okay.
So, you know, going through COVID and, you know, almost going through withdrawals of work, you know, waking up with no purpose was tough out the gate. And so we did adapt, we did adjust.
Okay.
But as COVID, you know, moved along and months passed, we figured, all right, it's going to be a recovery process, and it might not be as quick as we would like.
It could be a while.
It could be a while, exactly.
It all shocked us. I mean, I can remember my kids telling me that the schools were going to shut down, and I laughed. I was like, do you know how many millions of parents would storm the streets if that happened? Well, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen, exactly. It shut down. Yeah.
It shut down.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were all shocked. It was a very, very difficult time for everyone. Yeah,
it's a heck of a story to tell those who didn't live through it.
Sure.
It seems, you know, mind-blowing. But nonetheless, we knew that the recovery process would be tough. So we were like, we wanted to move at some point. Oftentimes you leave something good in hopes of something great. We weren't leaving something good. So it was very easy to make that jump. We just happened to land in Katy. We came down, visited a family member of hers, my wife's, and returned a rental car that we had in the Katy area. And we were like, oh, this is nice.
I see.
It's really nice. Yeah.
Okay.
We looked around before we left to get back on our flight.
Yeah.
And a month and a half later, we were living in Katy.
Interesting.
Very quick. Very quick. Yeah.
So did you come to move here in Houston, or how did you get about to even seeing Houston or Katy and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Well, so we had a term at the time of our life. We were in search of summer. You couldn't do anything in Chicago. There was nothing to do.
All shut down,
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And so Houston gets warm in April.
Sure it does.
We used to have snow on the ground at that time in Chicago. But our goal was essentially just escape, just get away for a little bit. And so we came down to visit her family member and realized that we actually really like it. And so we had no intentions on moving when we came down. And we were living here not soon after.
Cool. So came down to visit and ended up falling in love and moved down here.
Exactly.
And I think you mentioned you moved to Elyson recently, so I'm guessing you were in a different part of Katy first, maybe south of here or something like that, or whereabouts? Okay.
So we moved from the Cinco area, which is great, very family oriented, and we wanted that same vibe. And so Elyson offered that. It's a very, very diverse community. Everyone has kids and families, and that is very attractive to us because we do as well. So,
absolutely.
So that was a big reason why we decided to move to the Elyson area and kind of scope it out. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you made the move here, but you said you were working your own business and it was pay, which had been cut off clean, I guess. Was there an element of like, hey, do I just write it out and wait a few months because I have at least a Rolodex up there, versus here you're starting completely from zero, right? Like that had to have been nerve-wracking, I would imagine.
For sure. You're absolutely right. And I am one that likes to kind of twist my own sayings. And, the fear of the unknown is something that people typically say. The excitement of the unknown is something I live by. And so you're absolutely right. Yes, I have a Rolodex. Yes, I have contacts. However, they're going to be suffering just like I would have been.
I see.
Personal training is not, if you are struggling, the first person to go is your personal trainer.
It's true.
And so they would be, in a situation where they wouldn't be able to afford personal trainer and really anything extra. And so we knew that. And so how long would that wave have to be for us to ride out?
I see.
And we didn't want to find out. We let's jump.
Pulled the trigger.
Yep.
Now, when you came down here, did you start your own thing here? Did you work for somebody else for a little while and kind of get situated and plugged in, or what did that look like?
So the goal was to move here and rebuild business. And in the midst of that, to make some right now money, I started working for a company called Reach Stretch Studios. And that's when I was introduced to stretch therapy. So my background is in personal training up until this point. We moved here, see a job posting for stretch therapy, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's right up my alley. And so I went and I worked for that company, which I'm forever grateful for the opportunity they gave me, because that brought me to where I am today and really allowed me to grow my my knowledge of how I can help people.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Very cool. So explain to me, personal training, stretch therapy. How are they different, and how do you see people using them today? I would want this or that based on what?
Yeah, so they are, the best way to describe it is they're yin and the yang.
Okay.
So, we want to be mobile and flexible, but we also want to be strong enough to be stable. And so personal training can help build our stability, our foundation, our strength. Stretch therapy is how we stay limber and mobile enough to go throughout life without pain or minimal pain. And so they complement each other very, very well. It's not a this or that, it's a this and that. And so that would kind of be the best way to describe it.
Yeah, that's great. Very good. And then did you kind of still dabble in the personal training space, or do you stick straight to stretch?
No, I still dabble. So I have my own, clientele. Again, I said the idea was to start over and regrow business. So I had my own clients on the side outside of stretch therapy.
Great.
But I was only operating underneath the Reach umbrella for the stretching.
Very good. Awesome. So talk to me about stretch therapy, right? You mentioned mobility and flexibility and some things like that too, but I also think of like chiropractors, right? When would one person want to see one or the other, and maybe how are they different and how are they the same?
Yeah. So they're the same in the sense that they both are rooted in pain relief, discomfort relief. And so again, this is not a this or that, it's a this and that. Chiropractors are going to deal with the joints and the bones. Stretch therapists are going to deal with the muscles that connect to those joints and bones. And so the idea is that if you go and get adjusted, but the muscles are still tight, that adjustment isn't as effective. However, if you go and get stretched and then you go get your adjustment, it's the best thing in the world. It is euphoric. You will feel like a brand new person. So that's the best way to kind of describe how they complement one another.
Yeah, interesting. And then it's funny because I remember one of the times I first kind of sat down with you, I was walking over there and I was asking you a little bit about stretch therapy, and he's like, well, I bet I could tell from the way you walk what is tightest for you right now. And he's like, your hips are probably bugging you more than this. I was like, dude, you read me like a book just by watching the way I walk. It's pretty amazing for sure.
Oh, appreciate it.
So stretch therapy, who might seek stretch therapy? Is it like a specific age group or someone who's facing specific circumstances, or what does that look like? Maybe give some examples.
Yeah. So I guess the best example is the age range of my current clientele. So my youngest client is 10 years old and my oldest client is 87. They just had a birthday. Oh, wow. So it is literally for everyone.
Wide
for
range.
Everyone, and they have different needs. And so my 10-year-old is a golfer. He's pretty good, and he aspires to perfect his craft. And so mobility, as you know, if you golf, is extremely important. So that's what we focus on. However, my 87-year-old client literally wants to improve and maintain quality of life. We all want to live forever, but what is our quality of life at those later stages? And so that is what we focus on with those type of clients. So it's literally a wide range. There is no bad scenario for stretch therapy.
Sure.
It all depends on what your current goals are.
Good. What does a stretch therapy session look like? And do you have to have any first initial kind of like discovery phase, or what does that look like for somebody starting?
So that's what the first session is. It's an introductory session. And so I'll kind of get to know you, learn about your aches, your pains, injuries, any sort of past history dealing with your body. And so from there, that very first session, we're going to scratch the surface and really kind of lean into how we can improve wherever you're starting. Everyone starts in a different place. But we can always improve with effort. So that's what that first session looks like. And we will talk and really understand where your limits are. How do we push slightly into them, recover from it, and then reset and do it again for our next session.
Good. Awesome. So that's kind of what the initial visit looks like, right? Let's talk about maybe cadence of this. I know when I go to a chiropractor, he's always like, hey, I want to see you 12, 14, 15 times, right? Whatever that be. Is this something you see people coming back for on a regular basis? How long does each session look like? What does that look like?
Yeah, so on average, I see most of my clients about once a week, but it then comes back to what I said earlier. It's all about where we're starting. Your body is going to be much more accepting, and it's going to react a lot quicker when you hit it hard out the gate. So, everybody has started a fitness journey and have lost 10 pounds in the first month, 10 the next month, and then month 3, it's like the scale hasn't moved. Yeah. Same concept. Your body will adapt when something is new the fastest. So typically wherever your starting point is then what I will recommend how often I would like to see people. So either once every other week, once a week, or even sometimes twice a week. Okay. It all depends on where you start. Sessions are an hour long, and so throughout that session, we have plenty of time to address multiple parts of the body. So don't think like, I only have back pain, so we only can look at back pain. No, we're gonna go through. You might get a little bit more than you might have bargained for. You might be surprised at other areas that are hurt or that don't feel good or move well. Sure. But because the back is screaming so loud, you don't get an opportunity to even address those. So
I see.
So
I'm sure you see a lot of things like maybe it's like a pain in the lower back, but maybe it's something in your elbow, or I don't know.
Yes,
like everything's kind of connected,
Absolutely.
Like you guys know better examples than I do.
Yeah,
of course,
exactly.
But,
exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah. So do you see a lot of people who say, "Hey, I'm coming to you because I have a specific problem," and then some people that just are more regular, like, "Hey, I know if I just come in and do this regular adjustment, I'm going to be going," or is it a mix of both, or one more than the other?
Yeah, most people take action when pain is present. If there's no pain, it seems like there's nothing to fix.
I see.
But I have a client that I think of exactly what you just asked me. He's a older guy that's retired, and he's like, I hate coming to do physical therapy. Personal training or stretch therapy, but he's like, I want to enjoy my retirement. So awesome. I see the benefits and the value of it. That don't mean I like it, but I want to enjoy my retirement. I've worked too hard, too long to not be able to enjoy these years now. So great. So he's definitely someone who is there for maintenance. No specific ache or pain, but he's there to maintain his quality of life, because that's the key. That's the key.
Cool. So in that case, then, are you basically mixing in a personal training session, helping fitness, and then also doing the stretch piece of it?
With some clients, yes, I do. For that particular client, no, I don't. But yes, for some I do. We'll do a mixed session where we do 30-30 or 15 and 45, some sort of mix where we add some strength training in with our mobility training as well. Cool. So yeah, absolutely.
How do you prove success to clients, especially like on the personal training side of things?
Yes.
Like, do you set a metric or like a target to hit? Or
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
That's a great question, because on the personal training side, it's a very big sense of delayed gratification. You have to trust the process. On the stretch therapy side, there's a little bit of instant gratification. If you came in today, you leave today feeling pretty good.
Better.
With personal training, it's absolutely, you have to set some goals and really lean into how this is going to benefit them. Knee pain is a very common one. And one of my recent reviews, I have a client who was shocked that she can climb stairs and go downstairs without knee pain.
Wow.
And if I told her that in the beginning, I said, knee pain you don't have to have knee pain.
Okay.
We will get there, but she was stunned that we actually got there. So
interesting.
And
I would think of knee pain as like cartilage and muscle, because there's no muscles in your knee, right?
Right.
Or maybe I'm wrong.
No muscles in the knee.
Okay.
And oftentimes knee pain, it could be a whole sorts of things, but oftentimes knee pain, especially with older adults, is that it's just weakness. Our muscles atrophy. Our body breaks down as we age unless we do something to slow those processes down. And so she had no knee replacement, no cartilage damage, no torn ligaments. So it was purely strength.
Wow.
Let's build some strength.
Cool.
No problems now.
And then now completely different.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes. She has a grandchild that she brags about being able to get on the floor and get off the floor. She's, very, very proud of that. No assistance.
Make you younger again.
Exactly.
Right? That's
exactly.
good. That's good. Important for all of us, for sure. So,
absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome, Michael. So if somebody were to want some help, maybe they got a pain or they have a physical goal they'd like to get to, right, or aspire to get to, What's the best way to reach you or get in contact with you?
Yeah, so on all platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, it's More Than Physical.
Okay.
If you would like to book an actual session, I use Booksy as my booking app, so booksy.morethanphysical.com. That'll take you right to my link. You'll be able to see available sessions and book right away. You will see a price. You don't have to pay until you come in.
Cool.
So don't worry about that.
Good deal. Yeah. And then you mentioned come in. Is there a location you go to,
Yes.
or do you go out to other places too, or what does that look like?
Yeah. So all my clients come to me. My location is the nearest cross street is I-10 and 99. We're on the southwest corner. The address is online as well. But yeah, all my clients come in, see me to my location.
Awesome. Very good. Awesome. Hey, thanks so much, Michael, for sharing your story. It's always fun to learn a story of a fellow Elyson resident. They live right here. And of course, support local businesses as well. If you guys know anybody that could use any help from somebody like Michael, make sure to pass along his information and be in touch. But thanks again for sharing your story. It was awesome to get to learn a little bit more.
Yes.
Have a great one, sir.
You too.